Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us, getting out of the heat and sitting in front of your computer with us for an hour. I'm Christy Wilbert, your Senior Vice President of the Medicare Offerings Department at URL Insurance Group. And today we are with the Registered Social Security Analysis Company, better known as RSSA. You are in for a special treat today. A big part of my job is to go to all these huge Medicare conferences nationwide and learn about the up and coming, the new things there are to offer you as our agent partner. And our SSA has been going up everywhere. They were at Medicare Con, they were at Medicarians. I'm seeing them all over the place. So I reached out, was lucky enough to get Tom, and he agreed to join us today. And this webinar is not just for the Medicare agents, it's also for financial planners, anybody who's sitting down with a client and reviewing the money that they're going to have for the rest of their life and how that's going to impact, them financially, but also with their health care. It's a really cool program, a really cool system. He's going to show you the ins and outs of it today. Just some quick housekeeping items. We are recording this webinar. It will be available afterwards in our training library available on our website for your convenience. We're going to save question and answers for the end, but please feel free to put them in as you think about them. There's a blue chat box on the bottom right of your screen. Go ahead and click that to open the chat. There's a private Q&A, or you can just go ahead and put it in the chat, whatever's easier for you. And finally, you can expect to follow up with any handouts that we're going to have available afterwards with the recording that will come out in email. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to you, Tom. Thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks, Christy. And thank you, everyone, so much for coming on today. I know your time is valuable, and, the nice weather is here and everything. And let's face it, if you're in the Medicare space, recertifications and AHIP are finally out. And so, your time is valuable right now, especially with all the busy things that you have going on. But I wanted to take some time today to explain the value of the RSSA program, introduce you to this concept, and show you how you can use our platform to increase your lead flow, your opportunities, and your sales, right? Whether you're in the Medicare space or if you do life insurance or annuities, Social Security is a topic that is out there right now. It's always in the news. There's a lot of clickbait. There's a lot of misinformation. And so we show you how you can integrate Social Security planning into your practice for tremendous growth, right? An increase in leads, increase in the amount of appointments you make, and then leading from that Social Security conversation into an organic talk about Medicare, life insurance, annuities, and how that fits into their whole holistic plan. So if you haven't met me before, most of you probably have not. My name is Tom Drapala, Director of Strategic Partnerships for the program. And I absolutely love talking about the program and its value and the benefits to agents and advisors such as yourselves that are here, so that you can find ways to really grow your business, right? I was just talking to Christy before this about how there's a lot of training on carriers and all of that, which is great to understand product, but it's also just as important, if not more important, to understand how do I sell more of that product, right? How can I increase my sales, and what kind of approach should I take to do that, right? Is it marketing? Is it a program like this? Well, today we're going to show you how this program has increased the sales of so many agents and advisors, and we want to show you how they're doing that. So the first thing I wanted to talk about today is if you're in the Medicare space, right? If you're not in the Medicare space, we're going to talk about how this impacts life insurance and annuity sales as well. But specifically for Medicare, there's been so many changes the last couple of years specifically, right? There's been changes all the time. But especially the last AEP, with carriers dropping commissions and dropping plans on clients, it becomes very frustrating, right? One, for the client, because, now they have to go on a new plan, hopefully, through you guys, of getting them on that next plan that is right for them, that still covers their doctors and their drugs and their, hospital and all of that. But at the same time is with dropping commissions, especially during AEP and all these times that You're just trying to do your job, right? You're trying to genuinely help your clients make the best informed decisions. But while that's happening, to have commissions cut, which is how you guys get paid, it becomes very frustrating, right? And so it's becoming more important to differentiate your practice, right? Not just Medicare, but potentially, if you haven't done this already, adding in life insurance, annuities, final expense, long-term care, some of these other products and services that you have a book of business. You can present to that book of business other cross-selling opportunities. And let's face it, our clients need this help. They see a fit and need for these products and services, but they don't have someone to explain it to them, right? If you're just doing Medicare. And so it's becoming more and more important to differentiate your practice. And that's why we stress helping clients with a topic as important as Social Security, because that's basically the bridge, right? We call it the bridge and the barrier to entry, kind of, right? Taking away that barrier by using this type of approach, which we're going to talk about today in more detail. Now, besides carriers and all that changes and everything going on, the other thing that you might be concerned about, and you should be concerned about, is CMS, right? CMS exists for a good reason, right? It's trying to take away what the call centers are doing, unethical things, bad eggs out there, right? Agents that maybe aren't doing the right thing. And so it's not necessarily a bad thing that they exist, but it does create another barrier to entry, right? It kind of takes away the simplicity of getting in front of leads and being able to promote yourself and market yourself without having to go through all these different guidelines and worrying about the next thing that you can't do or can't say, right? And so the great thing about Social Security planning and helping clients with this subject is that, one, it's directly related to Medicare, because anybody that is on Medicare or will be on Medicare, most likely they're also going to be eligible for Social Security benefits, right? And so Social Security is not subject to CMS. So it makes it a lot easier. It gives a lot of flexibility with getting in the door with more clients, and in an easier way to then say, yes, I could help you with Social Security. You have that conversation with them, which leads to an organic Medicare sale, and they're already your client at that point. Now, a lot of it comes down to building that trust and rapport and relationship. And so this is a great way to do that, right? Helping with something that no other agent or very few agents are really helping with is Social Security, right? Compared to the amount of Medicare agents out there, selling the same products to the same clients, Social Security planning and expertise really isn't out there as much as it really should be. And that's why it's really gaining that competitive advantage. Now, that kind of ties into the last barrier, which is competition. Now, one of the reasons I love to help Medicare agents understand why the need and importance of Social Security is simply to get in front of clients before other agents can even have the chance to reach them, right? If you think about at 65, we're all trying to get that T65 sale, right? Well, if we're sending flyers and mailers and seeing TV ads, and every agent around that client or potential client is seeing the same ads and same spiel and getting the same products provided to them, well, how do they know who to work with, right? How do they differentiate you from all of the other agents? Well, this could be one of those things. And it has been for the agents that we train and help them understand how they can use this. But on top of that is get ahead of other agents. People reaching out at 65, why not help people with Social Security? You can help them at 62, 63, 64, and build a huge funnel and pipeline of T65 leads before they've even received one solicitation for Medicare, right? So many times these lead lists are oversaturated. They've been called a bunch of times already. You're just the next agent. But again, by getting them before all that happens, you immediately build that trust and rapport and relationship, which will lead to that sale. Now on the annuity side, and this kind of ties into the life insurance as well, but how I like to promote or help agents understand how to sell more annuities is that annuities have kind of that bad reputation, right? And it comes down to maybe advisors that say, an annuity is not good for you, but it's really about being uneducated, right? Our clients aren't educated about how annuities can work for them. And there's also that suitability factor, right? Not every client is suitable for an annuity, but the important thing is, how do we find those clients that would be suitable for an annuity? And then how do we get that annuity sale, right? So how I kind of help agents understand who sell annuities and are looking to sell more, or if agents are looking to start selling annuities, Social Security benefits are basically like an annuity. It's providing dependable retirement income so that if the market takes a hit, if there's any kind of fluctuation, they're okay because they know they have that dependable retirement income that is offsetting their fixed expenses, right? Everyone has these fixed expenses like their home, any debts they might have to pay each month, utilities, food. And so they want that dependable income to offset those expenses that they know they're going to have with the money coming in they know they're going to have as well, right? And so we say, what if we can optimize your Social Security income, right? And then also tack on an annuity providing two dependable income streams. Now, when you present it to a client in that sort of way, it starts to make more sense to them. And so it's easier to get that sale by saying, yes, we want to help you get more of that dependable income, which will offset those expenses you have. And if the market takes a hit, you don't have to worry about it because you have that income coming in no matter what happens, right? And this kind of ties into life insurance too, because a lot of clients, they realize there's usually a gap in their income, especially if Social Security and they have an annuity, but when someone passes, what does that look like? Well, if they protected with some kind of life insurance or even, a death benefit annuity, it does help them with that peace of mind, right? A lot of clients are just looking for that peace of mind now, and that's what you can offer to those clients. So I always like to bring the why behind Social Security, right? Now, there's so many topics out there that clients can find valuable, but what is a topic that we can present to clients that is very broad so we can get in front of as many clients as possible, something that is truly important to them, and something that's going to lead to those organic sales? Well, Social Security is that topic because, again, it's everywhere right now, right? There's just so much in the news. There's so much misinformation out there. There's a lot of fear mongering, right? That Social Security is not going to be there for me and all this. But what we teach in our program is not just understanding the types of benefits and the eligibility factors and all of that, but it's also speaking intelligently about where Social Security is going, being able to identify these fake articles and fear mongering things that are going on. We want to give our clients that peace of mind to know they're making the best and right decision. They don't have to listen to the Social Security Administration or Medicare.gov or any of these other things because they have you as that agent that they trust and they know they can work with, right? And so with Social Security, almost every client that you work with, if not every client, will be on Social Security at one point or another. So it really grasps a very wide audience, right? And that's the opportunity because all of those people are going to be aging into Medicare age, right? If you sell Medicare. Now, on the life and annuity side, a great part about Social Security is that it's more of an educational play, right? It's not just going into another client and trying to sell another product, but it's educating them on how they can understand and optimize their benefits, simultaneously understanding that there's going to be gaps. There's going to be needs, right? Potentially in a needs analysis and a suitability to understand a life insurance, annuity, or a Medicare plan. Doing this will best suit your situation. Now, why do your clients need help with this? Well, there has been a lot of statistics, a lot of information about where can clients actually go to get the help that they need, right? A lot of advisors, they might use Social Security as part of the financial plan, but they don't always really do what they need to help the client with this decision, right? It might be part of a plan, but it's not the main focus, right? And that actually can lose clients a lot of money because if you can actually understand and optimize the different rules, nuances, and pitfalls, you're actually going to be able to help clients more money in Social Security and make sure they don't leave any money on the table, right? Statistically, 96% of people leave money on the table, and this is over $111,000 on average, right? And to someone in retirement, $100,000 or more is detrimental, right? That's a lot of their retirement income that they'll have in that's basically being taken away because they made a suboptimal decision. Now, a lot of advisors and agents say, well, shouldn't they just go to the Social Security Administration, right? That's usually what you would think, but you don't want to send them to the Social Security Administration because, one, by law, they're not allowed to give advice, but two, you may call them 3 times, 5 times, and get different answers every single time because Social Security reps are not there to really help your clients. They're not there to give personalized advice. And if they do give wrong or misleading information, there's no repercussions, right? They're not at fault. It's the fault of your client. And so that kind of ties into, if it's the fault of our client and our client rely on us as agents or advisors to help them, it then falls on us, right? And these things can be easily avoided, but we need to be educated and educate our clients on this important subject. One of the big things that happens, and if you haven't seen this segment before, I highly suggest that you take some time just to watch it. You can go on Google or YouTube and just look up Social Security overpayments on 60 Minutes. 60 Minutes did this overpayment segment talking about how over 1 million Americans are basically overpaid each year. Now, we're not just talking about a few dollars here or there, but there are overpayments that people receive of $50,000, upwards of $250,000 that they owe back. And the saddest part is Social Security actually said that their mistake is your client's responsibility, right? And this is wrong on so many levels. But again, this can be avoided by us helping our clients with this, helping them understand how they can avoid things like this, how they can avoid leaving money on the table, because so many people rely on Social Security for either their largest or all of their retirement income. And then things like this happen where it kind of turns their entire life around. Imagine you owe back $100,000 and, either half of your Social Security check taken away overnight because they are withholding benefits to make up for it. Or if you have a retirement savings, they're going to take it right out of that. And again, $50,000 to $250,000 is not a little amount of money. And for it to not even be their own fault, or just because they're uneducated, this becomes a real issue. But it is a big problem. And again, we want to be able to help you understand how this can be easily avoided, but you have to be educated for your clients, right? You have to be advocates. So the biggest part of when we speak to agents and advisors is, how is this program going to help your business, right? Well, the main thing is kind of overcoming some of those barriers that we talked about earlier, being able to get in front of more people, right? We know getting in front of more people will lead to more appointments, which will then lead to more sales. But on top of that is, you're kind of having an edge up on that competition because you're really offering something that very few people offer, right? A lot of times people will say, well, how many people are in the program? Is it oversaturated? We're talking about these coming from Medicare agents, that there's hundreds of thousands of agents and advisors out there, right? Compared to how many RSSAs are there, it's a very small number. And let's face it, 11,000 plus people are retiring every single day. Imagine the value you would bring by being able to answer some of these important questions that they have and really helping them with something that not many people can, right? Now, there's 2 ways to use this program. One is that you can charge a fee for your services. So we have RSSAs that are charging, $400, $500 per client. You really can choose what you decide that you want to charge. But at the end of the day, you provide them with a personalized report that gets created from the technology that you'll see in just a few minutes. You could set up a one-on-one consultation. You can help with the application process, right? So it does allow you to charge fees. But on top of that, whether you charge fees or not, or just use this simply as an added value, it's going to lead to organic cross-selling opportunities, right? whether that's Medicare, plugging in life insurance for when someone passes, annuities so that it offsets their longevity risk. All of these things are very important, and it's going to lead to an increase in sales for you and overall just more clients and building your business. So now that we understand kind of the why behind this, right, we want to tell you what to expect from our program. So the program is a all-in-one turnkey approach. We give you everything from the education, technology, lead generation opportunities, marketing, and support. All of the ways that you can successfully integrate this as part of your practice, right? It's not just I'm learning a little bit here and there. It's really finding ways where you can go back to kind of grassroots marketing, putting on events, doing, local events, webinars, reaching out to your current clients. There's a lot of opportunities here, and we give you all of the things that you need to integrate this successfully in a way that works for you. So there's kind of 3 steps of getting certified. The first part is going through the 5-module educational course. Yes, although you have a lot of certifications and AHIP going on, adding this is not really going to take a whole lot of time. We usually say around 15 to 20 hours to complete. But it is important to know that this is not something you can fake your way through. This is something where you really need to learn the material. And once you do that, you don't have to recertify every year. It's a one-time certification, and you will have valuable knowledge that you'll never forget. And eventually it'll become second nature. But at the beginning, it's something you've never learned before. It's brand new. So there is a learning curve. And we just like to let you know that because it's not something you can just get through as quickly as possible. You do need to learn the information. But I can promise you, if you do that, it's going to be well worth it for the rest of your career. Now, within there, we also train you on not just Social Security topics, but we also train you on marketing. We train you on how to integrate it into your practice of your cross-selling and what you're currently doing. We teach you how to use the technology, which is our own proprietary software we're going to show you in a few minutes. So all of that is included in the training. Now, once you get through the 5 modules, you'll sit for the final exam to become certified. The exam consists of 2 parts, multiple choice, and 2 cases using the software. You just need a 75% to pass. We do have a high passing rate on the first try. If you do need a second try, you'll get that as well. And even, you can take it as many times as you need. But again, we're here to help you through it as quickly and most efficiently as possible. Now, once you get certified, the most important part happens, right? A lot of questions come in of, how do I market this? What is the first step I do after getting certified? What do you guys offer? And so we give you immediate access to live training, and we also have on-demand training. So imagine that you're just starting out and you want to know, well, what do I do next, right? How do I market this? How do I integrate this? How do I build B2B relationships? So we have all the different trainings on how you can integrate this into your practice successfully. And then we also give you back office support. So if you ever have any client cases, questions, if you need help with a marketing strategy, if you need help with anything that we can give you that support on, we're very big on our support. We're very big with giving you that hand-holding to ensure that you use this successfully. Now, the program is also approved for continuing education credits. So depending on your profession, if you're a financial advisor or if you're in the Medicare space, we're approved in 46 states, including Washington, D.C. Depending on the state that you're in, it's generally around 9 credits. Some states are more and some are less, but the majority of states provide 9 credits of CE. We're also approved by the FI 360 credential, the IRS, NASBA, the CFP board, and we're also listed on the FINRA directory as well. Now, a really important part here is providing you with all of the marketing content and collateral that you need. It's really important is that this really is a turnkey program. You don't need to create anything from scratch unless you want to. And we're happy to help you with some of those things. But we have marketing templates geared towards consumer-facing, B2B relationships. So if you want to build other relationships with businesses in your area, whether that's professionals, we also have content to get in front of unions or employer groups to offer this as like an HR benefit. Right now we have, people getting in front of employer groups and unions of thousands of people and offering Social Security as a wellness benefit, right? So this is a really unique way to do that as well. We have consumer-facing brochures, slicks, postcards for postal mail marketing, social media content. Everyone is going to receive their own personalized landing page, as you can see here on the screen. This is going to allow you to have your picture, reviews of what clients write about you, your professional bio, upcoming events. You can add an external website if you already have a website for your other lines of business. You can put a scheduling a call link here, whether that's Calendly, Zoom, whatever you want to communicate with clients on. And then there's also a contact me form here as well. Another part of this program is that you'll be put into our directory where we have consumers coming to our website, looking to work with an RSSA in their area, and you'll get those leads at no additional cost. That's part of the program as well. Now, if you do like to put on educational events, again, the big thing about Social Security events is that it's not subject to CMS guidelines. So you don't have to submit anything to CMS. You don't have to worry about not being able to provide a meal, the $15 rule, the scope of appointment, not being able to gather the client's information. As long as you're keeping it about Social Security, it makes the barrier to entry a lot less, right? It's easier to work with your attendees. Now, on top of that is we also provide you with the slide presentations to use. It comes with scripts, speaker notes, as well as video training on how to present properly. And then we also give you best practices about where the most effective events have been put on, whether that's 55 plus communities, libraries, diners. We have all those stats so we can tell you, hey, try this, this has worked most effectively, and this is how many people have gotten into those seats, this is how many people have closed based on the data that we have of our other RSSAs. Now, the next thing I want to do here is bring up the technology, because I think this is really going to help you understand what you'll have access to, as well as what your client would receive when you work with them. So here what we're looking at is the RSSA Roadmap dashboard. Pretty simple, but what I'm going to do is click on a sample client case here. All of this information has already been completed for this sample account, but as you can see, it creates everything we need in just a few seconds. One of the most important parts about this program is that it really doesn't take a whole lot of time to enter the data into the software and provide them with that personalized report. And so you don't have to worry about this taking away any time away from your business, but it's almost like it is doing it quickly enough where you're using what you learned in the education, using the technology, providing the client with that report, and opening the door to those other opportunities. So when the data is being entered for the first time, again, usually takes no more than 5 to 10 minutes, and then everything is done. So we're asking questions like their name, their birth date, their marital status. This does take into account whether they're single, married, divorced, widowed. It takes into account dependent benefits, life expectancy and longevity comparisons, all the things that you need the client to know and that the client should know based on their circumstances. That's all included in here. Now, all this information is starting to create that personalized, tangible report that the client would receive at the end. Now, the only other thing needed besides the general information is the client's earnings record. Now, we have the links here that link directly to ssa.gov, where the client can either sign into their account or to create one for the first time if they need it. Now, from that account, they can download their Social Security statement as an XML file, and we have the ability to upload that XML directly into the software, which will automatically shoot in their earnings record. Now, the earnings record will be the most accurate benefit. I know a lot of people put in maybe the statement estimate, but the statement amount has been off as much as $500 or per month or even more. And so instead of using the statement amount that's based on assumptions that may or may not be accurate, we put in the full earnings record. Now, on top of that is someone's Social Security account is only looking at them as an individual. It doesn't know if they are married or have an ex-spouse or a deceased spouse or minor children or disabled children. It doesn't know if they're disabled. It's not going to tell them the rules and pitfalls that they need to know. And so The Social Security account is great at giving some general information, but this is the information that clients really need to know and are seeking to get the help that they need. So lastly, here we have our built-in fact-finding tool. So none of this information will be incorporated in the personalized report, but this is an opportunity for you to understand that suitability factor, right? If you sell life insurance, annuities, final expense, other things that you want to sell to that client, this will ask them about what's going on in their financial and retirement outlook. What do they have in 401ks, Roth IRAs, right? What's going on so that you can understand, is this person suitable for me explaining these products and services that I can also help them with, right? And last, it's going to calculate all the results, and everything is automatically generated. The personalized report and all the charts are done just like that. Now, usually the next step would be to provide the client with that personalized report and go through it with them, which we're going to show you in a minute. But before we get there, we also created a software that has features that no other technology has in the Social Security space. So the first thing is the filing options heat map. This is going to show every single option from 62 through 70. Well, what that does is it takes away having to spend so much time putting in, what if my client did this versus this? It just shows every single option they have. And you can see that in either a lifetime, annual, or monthly benefit. And you can even click on any option within here, which will break down the details. Are they eligible for retirement, spousal, survivor, dependent benefits? Are there any earnings deductions? And it'll also go from annual to monthly benefits built in here as well. We also have the PIA calculator. This will actually show clients how their benefits are calculated. Right? There's so many misconceptions about the calculations of Social Security. The Social Security website doesn't even show people how it's calculated. And so we like to make sure that we're providing the most accurate information, and breaking down how it's calculated ensures the accuracy of the benefit amounts that we're showing. We also have a break-even report. This can allow you to choose to compare up to 4 different options at once. Or you can uncheck certain options and change the ages accordingly to show different break-even scenarios if that's what clients are looking to see. We also have a tax calculator. Now, only 9 states tax Social Security at the state level, but federally, we want to know, will the client pay taxes on their benefits during retirement? And so you can put in their filing status, their AGI, and their benefit, and it'll actually tell the client how much they may pay in taxes on that benefit during retirement. We also have a Medicare calculator for those Medicare agents out there. This is really going to calculate the IRMA for the additional Part B premium. Obviously, we know that the Part B premium for 2025 is $185. But if they're getting hit with the IRMA, which is income-related monthly adjustment amount, you can put in the tax filing status here as well, change the income range, and it'll tell them how much additional Part B premium they may pay. We also have our Cetera piece here that we're going to go over in just a minute. But before we get there, I wanted to get into the report that gets created so that we can make sure you see what that looks like and kind of the structure of how you can use this to help your clients. So the first thing here is the software can be white labeled. So you can have your logo, you can put your personal information, however you want to do it. And then it could also, the report can be downloaded as a PDF or a Word file if you want to make any edits, changes, or anything like that. So I'm going to download the Word file here. It's all automatically generated. You don't have to do any of the heavy lifting. You can edit as needed. But essentially, the reason why the report is really the most important piece of this is that clients love to receive something tangible, right? One, it's a remember me by, right? So as an agent or advisor, you want them to remember you. And by having something tangible, it helps them always remember that you're their agent, advisor, whatever it is. But going through this report one-on-one, not only does it allow you to answer your client's questions, but it allows you to ask the right questions back. It allows you to kind of open that door to the gaps in their income to talk about those products and services. It helps you understand, what age are you? Are you still working? Are you on a group plan, right? And so the Medicare conversation comes organically as well. And so what you would be reviewing with a client is some key information that they should know based on their circumstances. You would review the types of benefits, the eligibility factors, the timing, what all that looks like. You would provide them with their annual and monthly heat maps, so you can show them all of their options and all of their numbers at once. We also provide a claiming options summary. This is going to outline their lifetime, annual, and monthly benefits for each of those options, as well as when to file based on those as well. Now, we also talk about survivor benefits. This is really big for things like life insurance, annuities, and final expense, because they want to know, well, what happens when my spouse passes away? Well, the lower Social Security benefit goes away, but what if we can bridge that gap with a life insurance or with an annuity product or final expense, right? When you pass away, you need final expense. So again, organically bringing up all the ways that you can also help these clients with the product and services you guys currently provide. Now, the number one concern for most retirees, even over death, I'm sure many of you know, is outliving their funds, right? Longevity risk. So if we can help them understand how to optimize their Social Security, maybe getting them on the right healthcare plan for Medicare to lower their out-of-pocket costs, throw in an annuity or life insurance that's going to offset those longevity risks. That's why it's so easy to bring these things up during this conversation, is because clients need all these things. We just need to understand if they're suitable for it, and if they are, how we can present it in the correct way, so it doesn't seem like we're coming off that we're just trying to get the next sale, but it's in the genuine and best interest of that client, right? So it works both ways. You get the sale, you make the additional income, but it's also protecting the client on their end. So before I go on, I wanted to talk about this Cetera piece for a minute, because this is a really great strategy that we teach you as well. Now, Cetera stands for Self-Employed Tax and Retirement Analysis, and this allows you to work with small business owners. Maybe some of you are small business owners, right? You have your own insurance or finance business. You might also work with CPAs or other tax professionals to work with their small business owner clients. But a lot of small business owners have some flexibility with how they pay themselves. So let's just use a S Corp as an example. When someone has an S Corp, as some of you may know, you could take a salary out of the business and you could take a distribution out of the business. Well, the salary is subject to the 15.3% Social Security and Medicare tax, and the distribution is not. And so under reasonable compensation, if you could take some of their salary and put that into the distribution, you just save that switch times 15.3%. And so if it's a $50,000 switch, you just save that business owner $7,500 per year in self-employment taxes. Now, the best part in most cases, business owners in their 50s and 60s, they've already maxed out or close to maxed out their benefit. And so if you can lower their salary appropriately, right, under reasonable compensation, take that difference in distribution, you not only maximize their Social Security, but you also minimize the taxes that they'll pay in that wasn't necessarily giving them any ROI, or a very small ROI paying into Social Security that just would not be worth it, right? And so we teach you how to perform that type of analysis. And because you're saving someone so much money, we have RSSAs that are charging $2,000 to $3,000 per client with that. Or on top of that is throwing that $7,500 or $10,000 a year in savings, throw that into one of the products that you sell, right? Something that will grow over the next 5 to 10 years that they plan to retire. So what this program includes is basically everything that we talked about today. But just to kind of summarize, you get the 5-module educational course, the final exam, the certification mailed to your house. You get a hard copy and you can download a copy online at any point. You get the RSSA roadmap software, Cetera, what we just talked about, that's included in the software, and training, back office support, unlimited from our team, all of the turnkey marketing, all of this is included today. So I hope I was thoroughly able to explain why this is important, how it can grow your business, and what's included so that you guys can decide, is this a program that is a good fit for you? So Christy, yeah, if you want to come back on, I'm happy to answer any questions that anybody has.
I'm here. Great job. Thank you. So we really would like to gauge the interest in our agent partners having access to something like this. So if you are interested in pursuing this designation and going through the requirements, can you just comment in the chat box with an emoji or an IM or whatever floats your boat? The only question that we have right now, Tom, is if the E&O insurance for this program is extending to the RSSA advice that they're giving clients.
Yeah, that's an excellent question. I actually get that question a lot. And what we usually recommend is that, not everyone has E&O for this, but I always kind of err on the side of caution. And I always recommend go to your E&O insurance provider and say, can this be covered under my current policy? If not, can I tack on another part of it to be covered, right? At the end of the day, E&O is really not too expensive for the protection you're actually getting. We all know we might never need or use E&O, but if it ever needs to be there, we have it at least. So yeah, I just recommend that you can reach out to your current provider and ask if it could be included in their current policy or if they need to tack something on.
Okay, great. I am getting some questions on the cost.
Yes. So we don't have a current cost because we're trying to put together a partnership with URL. So again, the more people who are interested, the lower the price will be. So Christy, I don't think we're giving specific pricing today, but just if this is something you would do, regardless of price, let's just keep that out of it for now. If this is just something you would like to do and are interested, just let us know. And we're going to put together a program that works for you guys.
Thank you. Do you want to share what it would be if they went out and did it on their own?
I will share that. I don't want to scare anybody, but if you just went to our website and just signed up on your own without any affiliation or partnership or anything like that, don't get scared by this number because you won't pay it, hopefully, most likely. But the program cost that we just discussed is $3,329 for the first year, and then $479 per year after. So again, don't get scared by that number. We're going to put together a program that is valuable for you that will be at a discounted cost.
Great. Thank you. We have a lot of people commenting that they're interested, so I'm happy to hear that. All right. Well, I don't have any questions. There is no more out here from anybody else, so I think we're good to go. I appreciate your time, and we'll talk again soon, Tom.
Yeah, thank you everyone so much for having me on today. Again, if you're interested, reach out to Christy. And Christy, I'll reach out to you soon. We'll talk, and we're going to go from here. Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Have a good rest of your day, everyone.